Kelley Flanagan is reacting to Hannah Brown's shocking confession about Peter Weber in her new book, God Bless the Mess. Hey guys, and welcome back to another shared news. We've got all you need to know on where Kelley fits in the Peter, Hannah, Madi crazy love triangle scandal Bachelor breakdown that we're going to get into. But before we get into that, make sure you guys are subscribed to our channel and ring the bell so you never miss out on any future videos. As always, I am your host, Zachary Reality, and since Peter Weber and Hannah Brown both confirms that they slept together when his season of The Bachelor was still airing, Kelley took to her Instagram story to seemingly poke fun at the news. The former Bachelor contestant shared a picture of herself holding up a peace sign, making a kissy face, saying, "Damn, looks like I need to write a book in 2022, maybe 2023, Kelley Flanagan jokes. Now, obviously, she is referring to the fact that Hannah Brown just came out with a book, as well as Madi, and both of those books, two of Peter's exes, spilled a lot of tea about Peter Weber, but Kelley Flanagan was one of the other girls involved in this big debacle. And I do want to note, while all of these ex-girlfriends are writing tell-alls, we have Pilot Pete over here writing a children's book, so I cannot even believe him. That is the most Peter thing ever. But Kelley Flanagan wants to maybe possibly let her story be known. A lot of people, kind of have been DMing Kelley, adding her, asking her to put out a book to tell her side of the story, because Kelley was involved in this. So sources are saying it's kind of been brought to the surface by now that Kelley and Peter started talking after Hannah Ann and Peter ended their engagement. And Peter had a lot to deal with in regards to Hannah Brown because they kind of hooked up, and then Peter was getting back together with Madi for after the final rose. So even though Peter and Kelley Flanagan started talking right after the engagement ended, she was kind of on the back burner in Peter's mind. And then once The Bachelor ended and after the final rose ended and Peter and Madi closed the chapter and Peter and Hannah Brown closed the chapter, as well as Peter and Hannah Ann, then Peter finally had time, or no other options, depending on how you look at it, to pursue a relationship with Kelley. So Peter and Kelley did not start pursuing their relationship until all those other three relationships were done. However, they did start talking after Peter's season. So I hope you're following me here. And this is probably why Kelley was not at the Women Tell All, because if you remember on Peter's season, Kelley was notably missing from the Women Tell All, even though she made it pretty far into his season. And I think this really explains the reason why she wasn't there, is because producers caught wind of the fact that Peter and Kelley started talking while Peter's season was still airing and Peter was single, or kind of single, so they didn't want to bring Kelley in there to create any more of a mess than it already was. So that's definitely why Kelley did not show up to the Women Tell All. But now that this is all revealed and is all out in the open, Kelley is ready to speak her truth. And she does have quite the story if she does decide to write a book. Not only does she have all of this Bachelor drama that people would want to hear about, but Kelley has been through a lot in her life. She recently opened up about her discovery that she had Lyme disease. So not only would a Kelley Flanagan book give us so much tea, but it also could help and inspire a lot of others who have dealt with difficult situations. Now, Peter and Kelley reconnected after Hannah Ann and Peter ended their engagement, but Kelley was always on the back burner for Peter as he had his hands full with Hannah Ann, Hannah Brown, and of course Madi, who he tried getting back together with after the final rose. Once those relationships fizzled out or ended abruptly for Peter, and when the show died down, he was able to pursue a relationship with Kelley, which they announced publicly just a couple months after the After the Final Rose special aired. Peter and Kelley dated for about 8 months before calling it splits in December 2020, and we cannot forget Peter's cryptic Instagram post where he announced him and Kelley were over, and that breakup happened on New Year's Eve when he posted that Instagram, and then their breakup, Kelley and Peter's, played out in the press for like literally 3 to 4 months. There was so much back and forth between them. Kelley was doing podcasts, Peter was doing podcasts, and it was so messy. So now here we are 8 months later revisiting this because now it's relevant again because of what Hannah Brown revealed in her book about her and Peter hooking up. So now we have a little bit more clarity in regards to the timeline, and it really seems like Peter has had his hands full, but every single one of these women were interested in. I think a lot of us are surprised that Peter is this guy that all these beautiful girls are obsessing over or going for, but at the time he was the Bachelor and all of these women were pursuing him on the show, and then it really carried in after the show. Can you guys imagine a spin-off series? What if the cameras never stopped rolling? Imagine Kelley, Madi, Hannah Ann, all confessionals, all interviews. Imagine the cameras followed all of this debacle. It really sounds so much more of a train wreck than Peter's season, and we already knew Peter's season was a train wreck. So I think this puts some context clues together for us. I hope you guys understand. I know a lot of us have had trouble following along this story, but I think the biggest takeaways from the Kelley situation of it all, the Kelley of it all, is that this explains why she was not at the Women Tell All, and this also explains why Peter and Kelley started dating after the final rose, because of the fact that he had his hands full with the other 3 women. And it also kind of makes sense why Barb really liked Kelley as well, because Kelley was never causing drama with Peter at the time. Kelley was the one supporting him, and then Hannah and Madi were making things difficult for him because that was so much back and forth. And out of all of these relationships, Kelley and Peter did last the longest. They were together for 6 to 8 months. So if anyone has tea on Peter and tea on the whole situation, it might be Kelley, because she was with him the longest. So would you guys like to see Kelley Flanagan write a tell-all? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you have any more questions about this timeline or this sticky situation, let us know in the comments as well, and we'll be sure to answer them and get to your comments, because I know it is a lot to break down. Thank you guys so much for watching. That is all we have for today. So before you go, make sure you're subscribed to our channel, ring the bell so you never miss out on any Bachelor updates. As always, I'm your host, Zachary Reality. You guys can follow me down below, Instagram, TikTok. I always got the latest on Bachelor tea. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.